Welcome back to Boundaries and Banter. We are your hosts, Taryn and Michela. Today we're talking about a very special word, and that word is sorry. What does it mean? How do you heal without it? Do you really need a sorry?
Why is it so hard for people to say sorry?
Why is sorry such a big deal?
And the different types of sorries.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start off with just the different types of sorries, right? So there's the sorry you feel that way. Which isn't sorry,
That's
by the
like
way.
the equivalent of like a participation trophy. So
Right. Like, look, I did say sorry, but the reality is I'm not taking accountability, Sorry.
yeah, just get over it.
Get over it. There's the sorry, let's just drop it, which is the dismissive sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. Let's just move forward. Come on.
The sorry, but I didn't do anything wrong. That's like the narcissist sorry. Like, I'm right, you're wrong. Right?
Right. 100%.
But then there's also the like,
it's like, sorry, just you're saying the word.
If you do something to someone and then, or if someone does something to you and you're upset about it, and then they say, well, I'm sorry, I didn't intend to do it. Like, I didn't intend to hurt you. Like, sure. But with you saying that, if you say like, oh, I didn't intend to hurt you, I didn't intend to make you upset. Like, are you just telling them like, get over yourself? Like, you have no right to be upset because I didn't mean it.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. But let's get into that a little later because that actually brings up a point that I wanted to talk about today. Like intent versus impact.
Right.
But let's bring it back to basics for 1 second and just go into why is it so hard to say sorry?
For some reason, it's really hard for people to say. I think it's an ego thing too.
People would rather die on the hill of being right
than just say like,
right, their ego.
Well, I think that they confuse like, I'm right with you're really important to me. Like, I want to try and resolve this. I care about you. I'm so sorry I hurt you.
They confuse I'm sorry with I'm wrong.
I think that's exactly it.
So if I'm saying sorry to you, then by virtue of that, it's an admission of I'm wrong, I'm bad, I'm this, I'm that, and it's not, right? And that's where the ego comes into play. It's not that. Sorry does not mean that.
Yeah, taking accountability doesn't mean guilt.
Doesn't mean that you're admitting you're this bad person or you're so wrong. It just means I'm acknowledging your feelings. I'm acknowledging how my actions impacted you to make you feel this way.
Well, I think like a perfect example is like, okay, you're at Whole Foods, right? And you're pushing your cart and you knock over someone's foot or you like roll over their foot. Are you going to like, when they turn around and they're waiting for an apology, are you just going to be like, well, I didn't mean it? Or are you going to say, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, obviously you didn't mean it. You didn't intentionally take your cart and run over someone's foot.
No, but that would be like a really funny social experiment.
It'd be weird, right?
So weird. Yeah, your gut's reaction is to say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you there. I'm really sorry.
And that's not saying you committed like a moral failure. Like, it was an accident. Like, you're at a grocery store, but come on, just say, I'm so sorry I hurt you. Or look, the grocery store one I think is easy because anyone that's like a normal human being in their right mind at a grocery store, if they ran over someone's foot, would be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. But then why is it so hard if they hurt you? Why is it so hard to say sorry?
I mean, people just become so defensive and it's not easy. Listen, because I think when you hear, hey, you did X, Y, and Z, which made me feel X, Y, and Z, and that felt really crummy or that felt really hurtful or whatever, it's really hard not to become defensive. People automatically feel like their person is being attacked. They're being attacked. They're being criticized. They're wrong. Their ego, they're bad, whatever it is. They can't just take a step. They can't step aside to just think, wow, what did I do to cause this person this feeling? Even if I am having a hard time agreeing that what I did is bad, for example, like let's say somebody did this to me, I wouldn't feel this way. I wouldn't get hurt by it. That doesn't mean that your actions aren't hurting somebody else.
Right. And it's so easy to look, if at the end of the day you care about the person, and that's an if you do, isn't it so easy to just say something like, I'm so sorry this affected you that way. I would never want to see you hurt. How can we make sure that this doesn't happen again in future? Or even something a little less than that. I'm so sorry that you were affected like this. So easy to just say that. If you really care about the person, then why can't you just say, I'm so sorry. Like, how can we fix this? I want to see you happy. I would never want to see you hurt.
The most bizarre thing to me is, I do something that hurts you. You're hurt. You act hurt. And then I'm upset with you for reacting to the way I hurt you.
Okay, that's like a narcissistic behavior though.
Not always, right? You can have, people in your life that, they do something that hurts you. Probably they didn't mean to, but then you're hurt and then they don't like the way that you reacted and they don't know how to comprehend it. So they just act like they're the hurt ones.
I think that happens so much of the time. Like I'm upset with you because you hurt me. It's like your only way to respond is now be mad at me for being hurt. It's so weird.
Instead of just being like, oh, let me take a second to reflect on how I may have actually harmed you that you're reacting this way.
Right.
Right. And I think there's that, but then there's a lot of the time where people say sorry and they just don't even mean it. And it's just this like social norm. Like, oh, you're telling me you hurt. It's like, I'm not reflecting. There's no internal conversation happening. It's just, okay, sorry.
But is that something that's learned? Because I have an almost 3-year-old and she'll do something that I'm like, okay, like that's not how we behave. Or she'll take her brother's toy or do something. And I'm like, okay, like you need to say sorry. That wasn't nice. And if I ask her, like, why did you do that? She'll say, because I wanted to. And I think that's very normal developmentally for a 2-year-old. But at what point is it like, at what point do we learn to behave a little bit better than that?
Well, that's what you have to teach your kids, right? That's the whole point of all of this. I mean, I think the biggest part of sorry, and this is such like a big conversation, it's kind of hard to tackle, but it's not the word I'm sorry.
No,
it's not the actual
word. Means
word.
Nothing.
The word means nothing, but it's, I hear you. I'm acknowledging how you're feeling. I'm validating how you're feeling. And I want to understand what I did to make you feel this way.
And how I can better myself.
And how I can better myself or whatever, how I can change or alter to make this dynamic better for both of us. And it doesn't mean I'm wrong and you're right. It doesn't mean, I'm the bad person. I'm morally incorrect. I think you can get in that topic when somebody is like, I'm not listening to you. Mm-hmm. I don't care that you're hurt. Mm-hmm. But, it's the constant battle we have with our egos, right? We have to coexist with our egos for the rest of our life. How important is being right to you?
I think it's like how you said, people think if you say sorry, you're wrong. And I can do something to you and you can be upset by it and I can still apologize to you without thinking that I did anything wrong.
Okay, but then how do you change?
Well, I think if the relationship is important enough to me, I wouldn't do that specific thing to you again, right?
Would you try to evaluate why it could have been wrong in somebody else's eyes or hurtful?
Yeah, I think that's right. Like a smart thing to do. Not everyone's the same. Not everyone was raised the same. Not everyone thinks the same. I think it's really important to understand where other people come from and why things hurt other people.
Well, that's the whole thing of impact. That's what I want to get into is right. Like intent versus impact. I mean, you see so many things on the internet now where it's, well, they didn't mean to. And for the sake of creating boundaries and all of those things, it's, when we had an episode about generational trauma and all of that, those things, it's, well, they didn't mean to. They don't know any better.
But when does that stop being an excuse?
They didn't intend to, right? They didn't intend to hurt you.
But saying if I do something to you and you're upset and I'm like, well, I didn't intend to hurt you. That's me telling you, just get over it because I didn't mean it. And that's not fair.
Correct. It's not fair, but also it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I always say, and I really believe this, there is accountability beyond intent. Imagine we were all only accountable and responsible for what we intended to do. That's crazy. Imagine I hurt somebody physically and I didn't intend to do that. I would just never be held accountable.
No, of course. But I think that with accountability, you have to be willing to have some kind of self-reflection.
But of course.
And I think a lot of people have a hard time with that because they say, well, I didn't do anything wrong. Like no one else in my family would feel this way. But does that matter? Does this relationship mean anything to you?
Okay. So then is there a point where you never receive an apology? You never receive. And by the way, when I say apology, I don't mean I'm sorry. I don't think that that's a recognition.
No, it means nothing.
It means nothing. I mean, it doesn't mean nothing, right? I don't want to say that because some people communicate differently. Some people don't have, they're not as so linguistically inclined. They're not going to say, I recognize you feel X, Y, and Z. I recognize I did X, Y, and Z to create that. Maybe their version of that is saying I'm sorry. But for the sake of this, just the word I'm sorry and not, that meaning behind it. Is there a point you never get that? You never get the recognition of your feelings, the validation, acknowledgement of your feelings. What happens when you don't get that?
I think a lot of friendships end, a lot of relationships end because of not getting that sorry. But I don't think that you need the sorry to heal.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't think that in order to heal, if someone does something horrible to you, you can heal without getting that word, without them saying, I'm sorry.
So let's say like these anonymous people that commented on our first podcast that we talked about that said all these like horrible things about your sister. Mm-hmm. Imagine they weren't anonymous anymore and they came to your face and they were like, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I hurt your feelings.
I think that they would only be saying it because we literally had an episode on how hurtful it was.
So?
Sure. And look, I forgive them. Like, I forgive them. Like, I also have just come to a point that I recognize that's their issue. Like they obviously have deep-rooted issues that they haven't come to terms with. That's on them. And I have grown from it and I no longer will look at comments and be so deeply affected by it because at the end of the day, like who are they to me? They're strangers.
You don't need their sorry.
I don't need their sorry. It doesn't matter.
But when you have a relationship with someone that you care about and you love, and they're having a hard time really acknowledging your feelings, they're too stuck in their own feelings.
I think that really hurts.
What do you do?
I don't know, because I think that's really hard and that really hurts.
Yeah.
And when you get to that point and you try and explain how you feel and you try and go over and over and over it again and you're still being met with, well, I don't know why, like I didn't do anything wrong. I'm the one that's hurt.
Right.
I think that makes it even harder. And look, there's also the situation, and I can think of a specific instance that someone said really, really negative things about me to someone that I am very close with. And they did come and apologize. They did say, I'm really sorry. I know I was wrong. But at that point, it had been done to me so many times that you've shown me who you are. I no longer want, I forgive you. We're good. We're cool.
Yeah.
I just don't really want to have a relationship with you anymore.
I think people really confuse forgiveness with keeping that person in your life. For example, I can forgive someone for harming me, but if it's shown me their true colors and I don't want them to be in my orbit or life in the same way, not because I'm vindictive, but just because they don't really align with what I want for myself or whatever it is, it's not a good thing for me. People think, oh, well, you just haven't forgiven then. You're not really forgiving.
Or like you're a horrible person. Like they said, sorry, just get over it.
Right.
And that's not fair.
Or they said, sorry, now you have to be best friends with them again, or you have to, have the same relationship you had with them again before because they said sorry. That expectation from a simple word is so unfair and unrealistic. And I just feel as though for me, if you've hurt me so much, and you acknowledge that you hurt me and you want to work on it, then that's amazing. You're staying in my life as you always were. If anything, maybe more because look at you. You're so great.
Take accountability.
Yeah. But if you can't and you're just like, sucks, I guess, you're hurt, but I'm hurt and whatever.
Well, or there's like, okay, well, I said I'm sorry, so just move on. But then they keep doing it to you.
Right.
And that doesn't mean it. Like, again, sure, you can forgive that person, but it hurts.
Yeah. It's part of growing up.
I think it is part of growing up, evolving, changing who you want to keep in your life, who you don't want to keep in your life. And as an adult, you get to make those decisions. And there are consequences for actions.
Okay, so like that's an example that you received that text from that person. Did it feel like a genuine apology to you?
It did feel like a genuine apology. But at that point, I just felt like there had been so many instances where this happened that
there's no trust. There's no way. Yeah.
It's broken.
Yeah.
Like I just don't really want you in my life. Like I don't want you around my kids. It doesn't feel good. You have to also trust your gut. Like we spoke about this in one of our episodes with a therapist. Like you always have to trust your gut for a boundary, right? Like what works for you, what doesn't work for you. It just didn't feel good.
Yeah. And you can say, hey, I forgive you, but keep that person over there and you're over here. And you don't have to say that, right?
I saw something really, really good on Instagram. And I don't remember who it was. And I wish I could say like it was so-and-so that said this, but it's not me. Okay. I want you to succeed. I want you to do well. I wish you all the best. I want you to bloom, just not in my garden. And I think that applies to this because when someone says, they're sorry, or even if they don't say they're sorry, but they expect to continue a relationship with you, like, we're good. It's all good. And even with this person that sent this text and apologized to me, I want to see good for you. I want to see you have all the blessings in the world. I want to see you bloom. I just don't want to see you bloom in my garden.
It's a really good way of putting it. I think everyone has people in their lives like that. I think also a lot of the time, and you brought this up, when people are like, oh, they said sorry, just swallow it for the greater good, accept it, move on, move forward. That kind of dismissive sorry, it creates so much resentment.
A lot of resentment. And I think that's where you build a lot from those. You feel like you've been trampled over and over and over again because you keep accepting this apology, yet they have no willingness to change.
Like, would you want to teach your kids, oh, this person keeps hurting your feelings or doing this, but because they said sorry, you must move on. And what moving on looks like is keeping them in your life as they were.
No, I would never want my children to learn that.
Right?
I would want to say if someone does something that doesn't feel good for you or hurts you, even if they say sorry, you don't have to be friends with them anymore. And I think that this like saying sorry goes hand in hand with the one episode that we've done, which is bullying.
And I also think it's okay never to get
an apology, right?
Like when you're hurt by something and you're waiting for the person that hurt you to take accountability or be, emotionally mature in a way that they never will be or whatever it is. And, they're never going to get there, but that is your way of looking at closure or healing or whatever. You're placing everything, all your autonomy, all your ability to self-heal and regulate and move forward on them.
Like, sure, yes, an apology.
So much power.
It's a lot of power for the other person. And yes, an apology is really important. And it's important because it rebuilds trust in most cases, and it can make the other person feel better and lighter, whatever the case.
Repairs relationships.
Right. But if that's not going to come with what should come with an apology, does it even mean anything? Does the word mean anything? I don't think it does.
No. And if somebody's not willing to do that, then, I don't know. I at this point in my life.
Like I see all these videos on Instagram that's like, you should always forgive the people that are close to you. Yeah, you can forgive them, but that doesn't mean you want them in your life in the same capacity.
Yeah. And you know what I always think of?
Yeah.
Did you ever watch The Hills?
Yeah.
And Lauren Conrad with her like perfect mascara and eyeliner is like, I want to forgive you, but I want to forget you.
Yeah.
And like, fair. I mean, that was reality TV and I don't really know how much of that relationship is true, but the notion of I want to forgive you and I want to forget you, that's okay.
I think that's totally okay.
I feel that way about a lot of people.
I feel that way about a lot of people too, but I think a lot of people think like, well, I apologize to you. So if you don't forgive me now, that's on you. And that's
it's not that they think
now that you've forgiven me, we should have a relationship.
Yes.
And it should be the same as before, if not better. But that unless you're willing to take some accountability and make wrongs right, it doesn't mean shit.
I mean, how many times have we heard, I'm sorry in our lives?
A billion times. Okay, so as you guys know, we have people send in their stories. boundariesandbanter@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your stories. Obviously, it's anonymous. Taryn, do you want to read it?
I like your voice so much more.
Okay, I'll read it. No problem. I'm so used to reading bedtime stories and everything. So, my mother-in-law always invites my brother-in-law and his wife to dinner, like all the time. Random weeknights, weekends, just the four of them. My husband and I are never included. At first, I tried to tell myself it wasn't intentional. Maybe it was last minute. Maybe we were busy. Maybe I was overthinking it. But when it keeps happening, it's hard to not notice when you're always the ones left out. My husband finally said something. He told her it hurt us, that we'd love to be included. She apologized. She said she's sorry that she didn't realize it came across that way. She said she'd start including us, and I really believed her. I thought, okay, maybe this was just a blind spot. I genuinely thought we had a good relationship, but since that conversation, there have been 3 dinners, and we didn't get invited to any of them. And now I'm sitting here like, does my mother-in-law just hate us? Because I don't know how else to explain it. I thought we were close. I thought things were good, and now I'm just so confused. It's one thing to feel left out. It's another thing to say it out loud and have someone apologize and then watch nothing change. And that almost hurts more. So now I don't know what to do with the apology. Do I trust it? Do I bring it up again? Do I stop expecting anything? All I know is she said sorry, but the invite still didn't come. And I'm just wondering what that actually means. That sucks.
Your mother-in-law does not like you.
Yeah, your mother-in-law just does not want to hang out with you.
She doesn't want to chill with you. Or maybe the other siblings don't and they're asking her not to.
Or maybe she forgets because she got into there's so many scenarios here.
There have been 3 dinners in this story.
But the fact that she said something, she said that it hurt her and her mother-in-law still didn't give a shit.
The husband said, the kid of the mom said.
Yeah.
And he said, it feels left out. I feel left out.
Left out.
She acknowledged his feelings and then had 3 more dinners without them.
Yeah, it's not nice.
So I wouldn't rely on the apology, no. But I would also, ask yourself,
why do you care?
Why do you care? So what's hurting you about feeling left out? Are you feeling left out of the family unit? Are you, is this surprising for you? Did you have a stronger relationship with your mother-in-law than you thought you did? Is this hurting your husband? Have you spoken to your siblings-in-law about, what's going on? Maybe
Has your husband spoken to his brother or sister, right, whoever else was included? I think there's something else going on.
That's weird.
I'm sorry. This person. That sucks.
Yeah. And I think the big thing would be stop focusing on it and kind of just do your own thing.
Yeah. Make dinner plans with friends. Go have fun.
Live your life.
Yeah.
Because
at the end of the day, your mother-in-law doesn't need to be your friend.
Yeah. And also
go be with your friends, with people that really want to be with you.
You shouldn't feel left out from family.
Yeah. It's weird. It's a weird thing.
A parent shouldn't leave out a child.
No. That's not nice.
No, it's okay to have if a parent wants to have dinner with a kid here.
Sure, but if you were like, well, I really want to go. If one of your kids I really want to go, and you just ignore, that's not nice. It's not you, girl.
I couldn't imagine saying to my mom or dad or whatever, being like, I feel really left out,
and them doing it again,
doing it 3 times in a row. No, I'm not laughing at this person's story. It's horrible, but that's how ridiculous this person sounds. So just you're not in the wrong.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
We're sorry for you though.
Yeah. And you can come to dinner with us.
Yeah. Anytime. We'd love to have you and your husband. Okay. So would you rathers? Would you rather say sorry to someone you don't believe you have wronged, but it would save the relationship, or never say sorry, stand your ground, and you may lose the relationship? I'd rather say sorry.
Say sorry.
Yeah. It's not that hard. Not that hard to take accountability, friends.
No.
Would you rather get a heartfelt apology, but that person wrongs you again in the exact same way over and over, or never get an apology and live with the resentment, but they don't repeat the same action.
Never get the apology.
Yeah. And I think that if they never repeat it, if they don't like repeat the action again, your resentment will start to fade. Right?
Yeah. I also don't, if they're not repeating their actions, that is their apology.
Right.
They don't need to say it. And it's something I learned in therapy. And, you know, obviously there are comments about us being over therapized, which like we're not. I could use a lot more therapy.
I just have to say, people that are open to therapy, people that have therapists that will talk to someone, it just shows that you're willing to evolve and change and better yourself. Anybody
that's shaming people for going to therapy is like a really problematic, unhealed human. But anyway,
they need help.
Yeah, that's not normal.
That's really not normal.
It's good to talk about your feelings and things. But anyway, so I learned in therapy, you know, we're never going to communicate the same way, right? Like the way that I communicated and that I'd want like my husband to communicate to me or whatever. It's not maybe his language or a friend's language. Everyone has their own language. So you really have to be comfortable learning somebody else's language and accepting the apology in their language. So you might never get the apology, but if someone's not repeating their actions because they've
taken accountability.
They've listened to how you felt, that's their apology.
And at the end of the day, what does a sorry mean without someone actually taking ownership of their actions? It doesn't mean anything. It's just a word.
I'd way rather have somebody never say the word to me. I would never live in resentment.
Right.
And never repeat it. That shows that they're an accountable person. They're worthy of being, you know, they're worthy of the love that I'll give them in, you know.
I also think that this topic also goes into what we spoke about in our episode about generational trauma and like how there's like the whole culture about cutting off your parents or whatever. What if one person in that scenario, probably the parent, because I mean, I only see how I would see myself. Like if it was one of my kids that decided they didn't want to talk to me if I had done something, I would do anything. Like you would apologize and take ownership and do whatever you can to repair the relationship. So why is it so hard?
Yeah. I mean, there have been times when I'm really honest. And sometimes that honesty or the way that I deliver things comes off as harsh or like a know-it-all or this or that. I'm so aware of it because it's never what I mean. Mm-hmm. And it's not what I want. It's not what I want people to receive. So when people tell me that's how I'm being or that's how they're receiving me, I'm really appreciative because I don't want that. Right. Like that's whatever. I just, you know, I love the people I love. And when they come to me with something, I'm as honest as I can be if they've invited me into that conversation. Some people aren't equipped to handle that kind of honesty or that kind of directness or that kind of bluntness. I don't say to that person who tells me that, no, you must deal with the way that I speak and the way that I communicate, right? Because that's...
Learn to adapt to me.
I don't say that. I say, thanks. Like thank you for telling me. I don't ever want you to feel scared to talk to me about something.
Let me phrase things a different way when I talk to you.
Change how I talk.
Well, I think that's a good note to end this episode because life is about constantly evolving, changing, bettering yourself.
Yeah.
And don't ever feel ashamed if you go to therapy.
Don't ever feel ashamed don't ever feel ashamed to go to therapy and don't ever feel like you are
in the wrong to say sorry.
Well, you're right. Don't ever feel like you're giving up this big part of yourself or you're sacrificing being right. Who cares at the end of the day?
Is if you don't ever feel like you can't say sorry because that means that you're wrong.
Really sit down and evaluate, what does this relationship mean to me? Because if it means anything to you, put your ego to the side.
Right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.